Good afternoon, Balloon Biz Academy. How are you this afternoon? Popping on this afternoon to have a little chat with you about how quick is your customer's route to purchase. If we haven't met before, I'm Sonia. I'm founder of the Balloon Biz Academy. I'm just going to make sure we're in the right place before we get started. A few people join. If you're joining me on the live, can you pop on, say hello, let me know you're here. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Let's bring it up. Yeah, I'm there. So today's live training is all about getting customers through to purchase. So today, compared to when I started 8 years ago, it is so much harder to build your audience on social media. And then once you've built your audience, actually the amount of people that see your posts can be quite limited. So I think it's somewhere between 4 and 10% of your entire audience see your posts organically, unless you're using engagement strategies to boost that. So assuming we're just putting our posts out there, between 4 and 10% of people will see our posts. So it's really, really important that if customers land on our social media or our website, that we get them funneled through to purchase without losing some along the way. And that's what we're going to look at today. We're going to look at your systems in place for getting people through to the route to purchase. So who have we got with us today? Let's have a little look. I can see we've got Samantha. Hi, Samantha. Hi, Yika. Is that how you pronounce it? It's a lovely name. Just pop in the comments and let me know you're here. Let me know that you can hear me okay. So I'm going to get cracking with the training. If you've got any questions, just type question in the comments that I can see it when I come back through. So we live in a world of instant gratification. So people want to get whatever they purchase fast. And unfortunately, the majority of us have very short attention spans now. So what I mean by that is, quite often people will go on social media and they'll be scrolling through. So they might go on today, so I want to buy some balloons. And I'll be scrolling through Facebook, looking at various companies, and then something happens. So a notification appears on the phone, or husband comes home, wants his dinner, the kids want their, whatever happens, and that's it. We're gone again, and we've lost where we were. So when we come back later, we're then dependent on finding where we was before. And your customer journey is a bit like a train. So they'll get on the train and then they'll go through various stations. And the stations are what are the distractions that can cause them to get off the train again. And the problem is when they get off that train, you then got to get them to find the right station. And then you've got to hope that another train doesn't come along that they get on. And the other train being your competitors. So what we're going to look at is how you keep them on the train to get to their destination quickly, and how you can get them to start a conversation with you. Because once you've got your customers in a conversation with you, it's so much easier to keep them on the train then. Especially when you think that a lot of our customers tend to be doing purchasing when either we're busy. So a lot of people are off at weekends when we're busy making balloons and setting up. Or you get a lot of night owls now who want to be doing their purchasing at times where perhaps we're either asleep or we want to be spending time with our family. So in order to do this, we've really got to put ourselves in the customer's shoes. We've got to think about what they see when they land, because as business owners, we do become a bit immune to what we do. I mean, we assume that every customer that lands on our social media or website is obvious how you go about booking our services. And actually, when you put yourself in their shoes, it's not always that clear, A, even where you're based, and B, how they go about purchasing from you. And what you want to do is you want to prevent somebody getting into a situation where they have to spend time searching, because people don't even like waiting for a website to load. I mean, I remember the days of AOL. You remember the old ding, 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 ding. Who remembers that, when you used to like wait 5 minutes to get on the internet, let alone however long a web page took to load? But nowadays, if you've got websites which are slow to load, people will be already gone before the page is even opened. And assuming that they do manage to get your page open, then a lot of them will not be happy to have to be searching through. And so you need to be thinking, when they land on your website, your social media, wherever it is they find you, what do they need? What do they need instantly? And usually the first thing is, people want to see what you do. So they want to be able to see your balloons, which is obvious, really, because they want to know that you're of a standard. But what you've got to bear in mind is, they don't want to see all of your balloons. They only want to see the balloons that they're interested in purchasing. And this is a big, big thing with social media. Because if I'm landing on your social media page today and I want to book christening balloons, I don't want to scroll through hundreds of photos of organic garlands and everything you've done in the last month to find an odd christening photo. So you need to make sure, the first thing you need to make sure is that whether it's your website or your social media, that you've got your photos really well organized into albums. And you need to think about it from the customer's point of view. So I was on someone asked me to do a review of their social media last week. And when I landed on their website, on their photo albums, they had photo albums of centerpieces, balloon arches, bouquets, doorways. They had all sorts of balloons. But as a customer, all I actually want to know is, what do you do for my christening? And that's what you need to be thinking about in terms of how customers land. The other thing that you need to be thinking about is, it's probably not quite so relevant at the moment, but it will be relevant again. And it is a big thing, particularly if you're a decorator, is customers are much more likely to book with somebody who's regularly decorated the venue that they've chosen for their event. And they're much more likely to pay more money for a decorator who regularly works at a venue, because it's so simple. They know that you know the place well. They're not going to worry because you've got good testimonies, you've got good photos of the work you've done. It enables them to see what's potentially possible for their event. So people generally like to see, and this is one thing that made a real difference, just a tiny little thing, was I set up albums specifically for the venues I wanted to work the most in. So the ones that were closest to me and I do a lot of work in have their own photo album. So it might mean that you duplicate photos. So you might have photos in a christening album and also in a venue album. But it's just about putting yourself in their shoes and making it as simple as possible for them to find what they're looking for. So, hi Emily, hi Sylvia. So who here organises their photo albums by the type of event and also by the venue? Is that something you already do? I'm sure some of you do, but I'm sure others as well tend to do it by personalised balloons, bouquets, centerpieces. And that means customers have then got to go to this album, to that album, and try and put it all together as a package in their mind. And customers are not always very good at doing that. I've got a bit of a, so I haven't got a sore throat, but it's a bit of a dry throat today. I'm a bit croaky. I don't know why. I haven't been shouting at the kids. The next thing you need to think about is, what do customers commonly ask? So what do your customers, those that are listening, commonly ask you when they land on your social media and your website? So the first thing they want to know is where you're based. And when I'm on Instagram looking around, it amazes me. And I know Instagram is really difficult because you don't have a lot of room for writing on your bio. But there are so many balloon companies out there that I can't even find out if they're in the UK, if they're anywhere near me. And so I will instantly click off, because if I don't know that you're local and I can purchase from you, there's no point me continuing, and I don't have time. I will go and find a company and get on another train where I do know you're local. The next thing they usually want to know is pricing and how to purchase. So how many people have had the question, how much are your balloons? And I always think, like, what balloons? I do thousands of them. And how do I go about booking? That's usually two of the key questions that land in your inbox. They also usually want to know about paying deposits when the final balance is due. Do you deliver? Do you have a minimum delivery charge? Do I have to pay for delivery? They want to know how long the balloons last, whether if they found this design, whether they can have it changed, whether you can personalize it. How far in advance do I need to order? And the classic one is, will they fit in my car? And I say that with a giggle because we've all seen people turn up with the smallest of cars for the biggest of designs. So Emily, you're saying a price list. So you have a price list on your social media and website. I recommend everyone has a price list. I know that people worry that competitors are going to find out your prices and undercut you. But you don't need to worry, because even if you don't have a price list, competitors will find out your prices and undercut you if that's what they want to do. And having a price list visible on your website or social media does two things. So the first thing is, it gives me confidence as a customer that I can afford you, because I'm not going to be keen to ask about your pricing if I've got a tiny budget and I think perhaps I won't be able to afford you. And yet on the flip side to that, of course, is it means that if I don't necessarily want people with small budgets, once they realise that, it stops me having to waste time going through that whole process of messaging for them to realise that actually they can't afford me. And in business, particularly when you're running your business on your own or as part of a small team, freeing up your time is money. So price list, I always recommend price list. And I know some people don't like the idea. I know some people will say to me that, oh, but if they've got a small budget, it means I can offer them something within that budget. Well, if you're in this stage in your business where you're desperate for orders, any type of orders, that's fine. But actually, if you need to earn a full-time income, you need to be careful about filling your diary with small orders, because there's only so many hours we can spend making balloons, and small orders often doesn't make a sustainable business. So, frequently asked questions, where should you put them? Everywhere is the answer. So you should have frequently asked questions on your website. You should also include them in your social media. So when someone lands on your Facebook page or your Instagram, they should very quickly be able to find a post, either in the actual post or the about section or the notes section, wherever you want to put it, wherever's easiest for them to find, of saying, this is what you need to do if you want to book with me. This is the process. So ping me a message. We'll talk about your balloons. Then we'll take a deposit. We'll send you through, well, before that, we'll send you for a booking confirmation. We'll send you for a deposit. This is a service we offer in terms of setting up, etc., etc. Lay it out very clearly. And once you've posted it once, don't assume that's your work done then, because social media particularly moves quite quickly. So you may find that you need to do a post a month. Just say, hi, I'm just popping in to let people know. So if you've got people sitting on the fence or they've just landed on your social media, they will thank you for the fact that easily to find within their newsfeed when they land on your page is, how do you go about booking with me? On Instagram and Facebook, you can include it in your social media stories. On Instagram, you can then save those stories into a highlights folder. So you can have one highlights folder, which is all about your booking process and how easy it is to book with you. You've got to think about what makes things simple for customers to find. I love Facebook Messenger because I can set up automated messages, but I also have standardized standardized replies in email. So you can set up like an email template. So I have email templates for all sorts of things, so that I can quickly go onto my emails and say, right, I want to send a customer a booking process email. And then all I have to do is change their name and a couple of little bits in it, and it's gone. It makes my work so much faster, and it means I don't forget things as well, because it's already laid out exactly what they need. So fax can also be sent with your quotes and your booking confirmations and your terms and conditions. And facts don't need to be boring. I mean, customers do like, and I like, when I go on a website, seeing a list of questions and answers, because it's easy for me then to go through, find the question that I have and find the answer. But so you can also include it in like a booking post. You can do a talking head video post, where you just go on and talk about, if you're interested in booking with me, a few people have said they're not sure how to go about it. This is the simple steps for booking with us. This is what we do. And another great way of doing it is if you've got customers that have given you testimonials in the past, as well as giving you testimonials about how amazing they are with your balloons, ask them to do a testimonial about how they found the booking process with you. They might say, well, Sonia was amazing right from the start. She answered my questions. She told me exactly what I needed to know. She sent me through the booking confirmation. I paid my deposit. She got back in touch with me the week before. She delivered on the day, and she even followed up after. And it was such a seamless and easy way to do it, because customers want to know not only that you're going to do a great job in terms of their balloons, but that you're going to look after them too. And then the next big thing that you need to make sure, so once they've found all the information they need quickly, you want to quickly move them to a call to action. You want to invite that customer to connect with you because you want to keep them on your train. And the reason it's really important to get that connection is you don't want them to get off your train and get on a competitor's train. And I've seen a lot of conversations in the Facebook group recently, particularly around cheap competitors. And the fact that they've spent days going back and forth with customers, back and forth, only for the customer to come back and say they found someone cheaper. So for me, the whole point of a call to action is whereby you're going to get that customer to get in touch with you so that you can move them through to booking and paying deposit. Now, there are all sorts of ways. And a little while ago, people were very adverse to using Facebook Messenger. I personally like Facebook Messenger, and I'll talk about why in a minute, but you can also obviously get them to ring you, message you, WhatsApp, pop into your shop, send an email. What I would say is you want to keep it as simple as possible. You don't want to ask the customer to do too much because they might get off the train. So if they're finding you on Facebook and then you're asking them to email you, you might find some customers just don't bother. They'll actually get off that train and get on another competitor's train they can book through Facebook. So bear in mind, the simplest way of doing things should be for your customer, not for you. But that being said, is I like Facebook Messenger. And the reason I like Facebook Messenger initially is I'm able to automate messages. So I can send them, if they come through to me, they will automatically get a message, say, particularly at weekends, saying I'm busy, I can take up to 48 hours to get back to you, but I will do. But there's also the option to set up automated replies. So things like if customers ask, do you deliver? Then you can set up an automated reply for that. You can do lots of them in there. I also like Facebook Messenger because I have a messenger bot. So everybody that contacts me through Facebook Messenger is asked to subscribe to my messenger bot. And it's my messenger bot and my email list that fill up my special occasion. So, like Elf on the Shelf, Mother's Day, etc. I will send out a message on messenger bot and my email list, and I'll be fully booked within hours. And they are very, very powerful. So I can't recommend enough Facebook Messenger for messenger bots, and also an email list for getting yourself booked quickly, particularly for those things, like Mother's Day, Christmas. We want to make sure that they're prime time for bringing revenue and profitable revenue into the business. So we want to make sure that we're doing it en masse, and we're getting people booked quickly. And I'm usually sold out within 12 to 15 hours of putting it out there. And people don't get the chance to get on another train at that point because they know I sell out so quickly. They'll get their deposits in and then they'll be on the list. The other thing I like about Facebook Messenger is the ability to tag customers. So if I'm doing Elf on the Shelf, I would tag all the people that inquire for Elf on the Shelf. So next year, when it's Elf on the Shelf time again, I just bring up my tags of all the people that I've tagged with Elf on the Shelf, and they'll get a message. So even if my Facebook Messenger died tomorrow, or my messenger bot died tomorrow, or Facebook decided they're not going to allow bots anymore, I've still got all the tags. So it's very easy to find people. It's also really nice and easy when it comes to, so you've got all your bookings in the diary, and then we're the week before and we've got to arrange collection, because I can click the tag for Elf on the Shelf. And normally what I'll do is I'll put Elf on the Shelf and the year, so 2020. And then I can very easily find those customers and send them the next message in the process. So when we're building up to collection and confirming collection. And Facebook Messenger, the majority of people find me on Facebook Messenger anyway. So it keeps them on the train. Now, there is the option in Instagram to do direct messages, to do some what they call quick replies, but it's not automated, but it does allow you to store certain messages so that rather than having to type it every time, you can just find your quick reply and send that. That being said, I do usually then like them to move them to another communication, but it's much easier to move people once you've had that initial communication. So often there'll be phone calls. I'm not a lover of phone, it must be said. But usually we go on to email because my booking process will go through PayPal invoices. And obviously I need to send my quotes and terms and conditions, but it's about quickly getting them, giving them, I'm not rushing people, don't get me wrong, or pressurizing people, but it's about setting up a simple system so the customer feels happy moving through to booking and paying a deposit fairly quickly. Because what we don't want to do is lose people through the process along the way. Hiya, Helen. Nice to have you. Hiya, Ellie. Sorry, I'm waffling along. I forget to look at the comments. The other thing that you need to do is you need to look at all the ways customers come through the process to find you. So obviously we've talked about websites and Facebook, but I get an awful lot of customers come through venue referrals, and I also get a lot of customers come through word of mouth. So we need to be thinking about, so for every route to purchase, we need to be thinking about what system we want to put in place to make it simple for customers to purchase. So particularly with my venue suppliers, I need to train my venue suppliers to send customers to me in a certain way. So do I want them to come through Facebook? Do I want them to ring me? Do I want them to email me? And predominantly it's going to be, I'm not saying it shouldn't be what's right for your business, because of course it should, but it's got to be the route of least resistance for your customers. And it's got to be a route that when they take it, all the information they need is there laid out, so that if you're busy off running your business, they can quickly find the information. And by the time they get in contact with you, the majority of the work's already done. You've just got to finalize the details and take the booking. Because when you're bringing customers through, it's about having happy customers and keeping on their train. Because what you find is that a lot of people come in the top of your funnel, but you lose them. They get off the train at the station. And if they don't get back on, the actual people that come through for booking at the end is much smaller than those that started at the top. It's called your sales funnel. And what we want to make sure is that all the time and energy we're putting people into the top of the funnel with our marketing, we're being busy and visible out there, we're getting a good proportion of those completing the purchase at the end. It's about qualifying your leads. It's about getting good quality leads. And it's about freeing up your time from answering zillions of messages, because if you've got all the information out there, even if customers get in touch and say, how do I go about this? If we can then easily send them the information, or we can point them to the information, then it cuts down the amount of back and forth. One thing I will say, though, is if you send them off to look at the information, make sure you then get them back into the conversation again, because otherwise you could lose them. So it's all about speeding up the process of obtaining deposits and securing bookings. So what systems do you have in place to speed up customer bookings? Have you stopped and looked, hiya AO, at your actual system? I mean, in the comments, have you actually sat down and looked at how your customers progress from finding you to the booking? And have you looked at that journey and thought to yourself, how can I make it easier for them? How can I keep more people on the train to the booking? Oh, excuse me. So do you have any questions about that? You're quiet today. Not so chatty. It might be because I feel like I'm whizzing through the training a little bit today. I'm conscious that I'm probably going to lose my voice. Don't know what's going on with my old voice. Yes, I'm just checking back through the comments. Is that useful? Is that something you thought about? Have you ever thought about the fact that it's a bit like a train where customers sort of get on and get off, and how to keep them coming through? Because the thing about today is it's so much harder in terms of sort of social media algorithms, and it's much easier with email lists because you're not at the mercy of the algorithm. But certainly with social media algorithms, it's so much harder now. You have to work so much harder to capture people in the first place. And then I know a lot of you are saying that cheap competitors, you know, people are getting onto their trains and booking with them. Okay, well, if there's no questions, I'm going to leave it there for training today. And I will see you in the group, and I will see you next week for some more live training. I'm going to put a poll up in the group to see what trainings you'd like to have over the next few weeks. So let me know. I'm not sure if my comments are working, you know, because there just aren't any. I don't know, the wonders of technology. So if you're watching on replay, type #replay. I will go and check the comments in a minute, because it seems strange that normally we have loads of comments, and today we haven't had any. And I can see there's quite a few on. So, and I will catch up with you soon. Okay then, bye for now.